Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. How's everybody?
Good. Does everybody hear me?
Yes. Hear you.
Okay. The first few times I got on this new computer, it wasn't working. So
Okay. Well, you're here now. And let's see. Yeah, we're recording this today for a couple of reasons. A couple of people can't be here and don't want to miss it, which is nice. And I'll send it to the managers as well. So the pressure's on. And let's see, these people are still coming in. Got a little shift in the weather. It was in the 30s this morning in Portland.
Ooh.
Haven't seen that in a while.
yeah, someone said maybe snow next week.
Oh boy. Now we're talking about snow.
It went from summer to winter.
How did it happen so fast?
There was a couple weeks of fall. I remember seeing some leaves.
Yep. Yep.
It's still
Right.
80 degrees though.
Where?
It was one day it was 80 degrees and the next day was 40.
Yeah. Good. Well, let's get right into it. Our picture today is really cool. A couple of things that were sent from the top agent retreat. Shauna, did you go to the management retreat as well?
No, I only went to the top agent portion of it.
Okay.
It takes a whole week if you want to do the other one.
Right.
It's actually a lot of people said it was really good though. It was 3 days full of stuff.
Okay. And any takeaways from it? Besides this, there is this quote here that it meant enough to you to take a picture of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was really great to listen to the people, the leaders of Century 21, and they're really thinking about, oh, this is the time that we really need to shine and really need to buckle down and work. So I thought it was a smart subject.
Okay. All right. What to say? The key is not the will to win. Everybody has that. It's the will to prepare to win that is important. And I cropped off who said that because it was some sports person. So
it was a realtor. Yeah.
And got another picture with Mike Meadler. Good job.
Yes.
We're collecting those.
Yes.
We're collecting presidential photographs. Did you say something, Pat?
Said it was a sports person that turned into a realtor.
That's it, which is not a bad idea.
Right.
Make some real money. All right, my message today, it's a list of things that I think everyone's going to need as we keep explaining this market. And I think realtors' job is to inform the public and to calm them down and make them fully understand exactly what's happening, where we are right now today. So let's talk about that. What changes has the market experienced and what changes are still coming? So I keep referring to the fact that we're returning to a much more normal market. And in a normal market, listings often take 2 to 3 months to sell and listings expire, etc. So here's what we started experiencing really a while ago. The first quarter of this year is when we started it, but the third and fourth quarters where we're really feeling these things. And the days on the market are extending, and we've been seeing that as a steady, at first it was rather dramatic, but we're seeing that as a continuing extension on the days on the market. Price reductions are in play for the first time in several years. A lot of realtors in the industry never heard of a price reduction, didn't even know you could do it. The inventory is growing each month, more for sale, and that's a good change. Buyers have more choices than they had over the last 24 months. There are fewer COVID buyers. That's kind of worked its way through, as most have either purchased or decided against it. Interest rates, they're rising. They will probably continue to rise through the middle of next year. There are fewer offers per listing than we had 5 to 6 months ago. It's rare that we see much of a battle over a house today, and we're having realtors ask what to do when they get an offer. Take the offer. Managers have to remind people that when an offer comes on the table, it can be signed. The projected transaction count in the US, which was 6.3 million in January of 2022, that's the projection. The projection has now changed to 4.7 million to finish the year. So they're projecting a pretty good slowdown in the market nationwide. Prices in most areas are flattening out and starting to decline. Deals are falling apart, are now common because of qualifying for buyers. Because of the interest rates and appraisals, people are going into the transaction and then fully analyzing their finances, and they're not quite where they need to be to buy that house. That's very important right now, especially with the interest rates. Expired listings, withdrawn, canceled, those are all going up. Those are all happening again, and those are lead sources. So that's very good for us. For sale by owners are not selling as quickly. Excellent lead sources. The number of showings on new listings is on the way down. Showings on new listings is on the way down. Offers are coming in lower than list price versus bidding up. Now that's always been the case. It's very rare to bid up in a normal market. There's no reason to do that. They bid down, and that's where counter offers come in. We haven't seen as many counter offers during COVID. Contingencies and home inspections are back in play. Well, we hope they never went away, but we saw too much of that. A very scary situation. Home inspections are extremely important. Contingencies, all of these are back. And seller concessions are becoming part of transactions today, like we had not seen. Seller concessions were almost were an everyday thing, and so we're getting back to that. So review this list, maybe print it out, because these are your talking points when you're talking to your client, when you're getting a listing or working with a buyer. The public needs to know all of these things, and I'm supposed to say there's a lot of business to be done. So keep that in mind as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's look at our listings. Let's look at the map. Counted the listings this morning. There are 40 listings in the Dash Century 21 system. And what's new?
Taj's listing 1.3 million there. He's going pending already. I'm so excited for him.
Wow.
On 1.3
Mm-hmm.
already?
Yes, it's a gorgeous house with a beautiful view. And it isn't surprising that this one went fast.
Oh, good for him.
Where's
And
the
it's
party at?
cash. No kidding.
And it's cash?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh boy. Well,
Sheesh.
happy for Taj.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Okay. Anything else, managers? You can kick in and see. Let us know what you've seen in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
far as
Kathy
listings?
Goff has a new listing. It's
Yes.
it's a rental, but it's a good area, good price. I believe Faye is going to be closing on $1 million house soon, so that's coming up, and I'll be closing in a couple weeks as well on my listing.
Now, is yours $1 million house?
No, unfortunately not, but it's still a good listing, and
You know, it's funny, as this company evolves, I finally learned how to count in the millions. It's 1 ...
Oh, gosh.
Because I always had trouble with that because I don't use those numbers until recently. So this is wonderful. 1 ...
It's a
Yeah.
sign of growth.
Yeah, a lot of what you talked about is happening. I'm getting through a few of my listings that I have pending inspection. I'm finally working through those inspection contingencies. So it's taking time. It's taking a lot of work. It's not, it's back to normal. It's what we do is for our clients is to help them through that. And I finally got one that was contingent and pending inspection. And I think today we're gonna remove both of those contingencies, and it took us 4 weeks. So it's not an easy task. You have to stick in there and keep it going for your clients.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
I really feel like before we were preparing our buyers for, all the things that they needed to be ready for in the crazy market. And now we need to prepare our sellers and tell them, this is what's normal. This is okay. You might not get an
Right.
offer week, you're going to have an inspection, all those things. We need to prepare them so they're not surprised. And
Right.
Absolutely.
Around, it seems like it may be shifting to a buyer's market. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually.
It will. Yeah, I think it's inevitable because that's just the way it always is. It goes from one to the other, one to the other.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's right. Okay. Anything
I found the
else
roller
new
coaster.
in Washington?
What was the question?
Was
What was
anything
that?
else new in Washington?
Just the Ridgefield, what I think is new.
Okay.
Jennifer had a new listing just a couple days ago. It's on Willow Street. I think she got an offer within just a couple days, and it looks like, they had to actually negotiate.
Really?
It was shocking. The price went down. It was like crazy, but
Wow.
How did your street fair go, Cheryl?
oh, it was awesome. There was thousands and thousands of people there. We talked to a lot of the community, a lot of, people, a lot of buyers, a lot of other realtors. It was really fun.
How did you eventually lure them into the office?
With
Beer.
beer.
Well, Gizmo was good. We had the office dog dressed as Chucky.
That's right.
He was like, he's the best. I still need to, like I said, I'm sure there's $1 million idea that has something to do with Gizmo. I just have to figure it out. That was the main thing. And we had candy.
Good.
The place next door had ice cream and hamburgers. So they, helped lure us.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
Hamburgers and ice cream.
Well, it's a hamburger place.
Yeah, it's like an old
It's a
50s
restaurant.
diner.
Yeah. It's a
Oh,
diner.
that's better understood now.
Yeah. It wasn't that unusual.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
The
Thank you.
neighbor is a 50s diner, which is kind of groovy.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so congratulations on those new
Nice.
listings and closings. And just a couple of reminders up here. Remember the 121, March 4th through 7th in Orlando, Florida, home of Disney World and other Disney properties. So consider taking a working vacation next year, something to plan for. Be a good time to plan for it now. You get a little bit of a reduction on the cost of the 121 itself. And what is that, Shauna? Is it about $499 right now? It's going to go up.
Yeah, I if you buy it while you're at the conference, you usually get it somewhere around $350 to $400, and I think now it's at the 500 mark. Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps going up until we get there, until the day of it.
And the resorts that they book, they do sell out. So you kind of have to plan ahead for it.
Mhm.
I don't recommend staying outside of the resort that it's at. It's a lot harder.
Especially in this case, it'll take you all
Mhm.
morning to get there.
We've done it, so we know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's always good
it's
advice.
super fun.
Stay as close to the venue as you can.
Mhm.
So you don't spend all morning trying to get over there. You're going to spend all morning in the Starbucks line anyway. You may as well be close. At least.
Not you, but a lot of us will be.
Well.
Right.
What about the Mike Ferry one in July or June or?
Yeah, I haven't signed up for those yet, but I'll be announcing those as well. I don't think they have the dates for everything from
They
Mike Ferry.
have the production one in January. They're
That's right.
at Caesar's Palace. They're promoting right now. It's a good price too. Very affordable.
Yeah, and the production
If you
retreat.
go to the website,
Go ahead.
sorry. Oh, if you go to the website, he also has some Zoom option, Zoom meetings happening.
They're still doing Zoom production retreats, and the production retreat is an excellent thing to do because it's going to be more focused on production and a more intimate group. It's not going to be the big 4,000, 5,000 people that we're going to do in the summer where Mike's going to speak.
Yeah, role playing is a lot of what they're going to be doing. So it should be a really good learning event.
Yep. Okay. So how's the market? Real estate experts know the market conditions and they're able to clearly articulate them to the public. And that's why we're here. What's the interest rate as of today? Average interest rate on a 30-year fixed.
Right now,
7%.
it's 7, but in about 45 minutes, it's going to be closer to 8.
Oh dear. Well, let's use 7 today. Let's use 7 today just because we got to pick one. I know when you go on the internet, you see all kinds of things. But yeah, it's going up, no doubt about it.
Yeah, one of the major lenders I looked at today is already saying 7.30
Yeah.
for a mortgage, and that's before the interest rate hike.
Okay, so it's 7. It has breached the 7 mark and will stay up there for some time, I imagine. And that is unfortunately going to get be news blurbs all over anything that's on a video screen, all over your pages. It's going to say that interest rates past 7%. So this is just a situation we've got to get out of where it makes the news every day, and hopefully that'll happen.
Or don't watch the news and just sell houses.
Tell your clients to not watch the news. Tell buyers to just turn it off. It's just not good. No, our job is to relay those points and to remind the buyer that that is a normal interest rate. They're not going to go back down to those crazy earlier rates. And do what you need to do. If you found a house, if your dream is to own a house, buy it if you can. And then you'll spend the rest of your life looking at interest rates to see when it's time to refinance. And that's fun too. All right. All of these other things are still going on. The rate of inflation is traditionally very high. I've got the market stats for September, and it'll be another week or so before I come out with the RMLS market stats for October. Cheryl, you had brought us a couple of slides. Can I pull those up? Or did they go with something else you want to say later?
No, I just sent them for information. Go ahead.
Right. Let's have a look. And I think what you wanted to convey here was that the market conditions today don't resemble in any way the problems we were having in 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Yes, definitely. This one just shows how, I mean, there was a ton of houses on the market, a ton of houses, even the ones that were, I remember so many just sitting there, not on the market, that who knows, we were always trying to figure out why has that house been sitting there for 6 months with no one in it, and it could be bank owned or whatever. There was just
That was a lot of short sales, if I remember. They would just put them on there so that they could continue to live there, showing that they're trying to sell their house and not making their mortgage payments.
Yeah, it was a mess, but there was a lot of houses, as you can see, a lot more houses on the market than there is now.
There were, and the foreclosures and the short sales. If you've never done a short sale, you don't want to. I'll just tell you that right now, but it
I
became,
became an expert like my first year in real estate.
we all
Yeah.
became experts. Yeah, we all
Yes.
became experts at it. Experts at faxing all day, experts at, I don't even want to, I don't want to get into that. I hope we don't get,
No.
and we won't. You know, this chart is telling us that we won't get there.
Wasn't fun, but don't be afraid of them. If you have one, you can do it.
Let's not relive any PTSD moments.
Let's not do that.
At the top there, you saw the what was it, 10.4 months of inventory back in 2007, 2008.
That's right. 10 months of inventory.
Has anybody checked what the stats were in 79, 1980, 81?
No, but I'll bet you know.
I wish I did know, because then it would answer a lot of questions in the back of my mind, but I haven't been able to find anything.
Oh, the rates?
Actually, it's the sales suggestions and techniques and training for what happened during high rate increase time. And the last time I checked, that was back in 79, 80, 82.
Mhm.
Well, both Century 21 and Mike Ferry would have those answers, since that's when they took off.
Yeah. Okay, foreclosure starts.
Yeah.
Ah,
We talked about that a second ago. Just it was not fun back then as far as people losing their houses. And a lot of it was they were just giving loans out to anybody, basically at the banks. That was the whole colossal failure of it all.
Yeah, and those years following those red lines were some of my best years because I worked foreclosures
yeah,
on the listing side.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, can we say negative derivative?
Mhm.
A lot of during those years that, I don't know, a few months back, I put out those statistics of there was realtors doing way more business back then, like Shauna said, the ones that kept working made more money than, that maybe the average agent made less, but the ones that were working, let's see, a smaller percentage of agents were making way more money. Let's put it that way, because they
That's
kept
right.
working.
That's right. That's another good point. The agents that worked through that are probably still in business today.
Well, I got a foreclosure list today, and I'm still trying to figure out how to break into that. So any advice from anybody would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. So this chart is telling you again, when people say, oh, it's the crash of 08-09 again, when you see a chart like this, there's nothing, no comparison. In fact, foreclosures, when you look at the end of the chart where it's in blue in second quarter of 2020, I think there was a moratorium on foreclosures in some places. So it just dropped way down and then crept back up to where it is today, which is where it was before COVID, which is probably the normal number. They never go down to zero, but they'll go down to a very low number and stay there in good market conditions. And that's where we are. So that's good. And there's one more chart on why this is not the Great Recession, or what was that called? Whatever they called that.
The Great Recession sounds good. I feel like
That
that was
sounds right. I think that's it. It's in the history books already.
How could it be great though?
Uh,
It was called the Great
Great.
Housing Market Crash.
Right. I refresh this. Oh, it's a play on words because it was the Great Depression.
It's optimistic.
Large, a lot.
Yeah.
I always liked it how somebody said it's a depression or it's a recession when your neighbor's out of work, and it's a depression when you're out of work.
That's right. I'm trying to get my blog back here. Yeah, let's just look at the third chart. Lending standards. Lending standards. Yeah. Well, you see what caused the housing bubble. It was loose lending standards. We all knew that. We all saw that. And you know, some of us I participated in it. I was able to buy investment properties during that time because they were giving them away. You'd buy an investment property with no money down, not the 20% down. So obviously, after the housing bubble, they pulled that in and imposed the standards that they'd always traditionally had, and we've been with that now. And so, what does this tell us, Cheryl? That the quality of loans out there is high.
Yes, they're still good. They're not, you know, people aren't going to be underwater like they were back then. I mean, people just got in over their heads because they could. The
Yeah.
The equity is very
It's
high.
The
It was,
American way.
yeah. Equity was very low during the housing bubble. That's why when something went wrong, they had no protection. They have much more protection now. All right, so thanks for bringing us those, and they're there for anybody who wants to dig deeper in that and wants to know how to explain that, how to answer that question, because that comes up quite a bit, and it's going to be as this gets as we get through this market. I'm sorry, there's somebody drilling outside. I have no idea what that is. I hope that's not
I can hear it barely.
okay.
Yeah, they're really going to town. I don't know.
Are
what's
they right in front of me?
going-
I don't know. All right. Let's see. Kung, there's interesting news. Now, this really surprised me.
Yeah, it's an interesting article. It looks like multifamily construction is outbeating the construction of single-family homes. This article talks about how, you know, in September, 893 units in buildings with five units or more were built compared to 800,000 single-family units. You know, it's even though there's an increase in multifamily units being built, it's still not going to be enough for the renters out there. There's a lot of people who need housing, and builders are trying to compensate that by building multifamily units. And yeah, the market's showing that there's an increase of that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an interesting article. I would definitely take some time to take a look at it and you know, learn the numbers. But this market is crazy. You know, there's a lot of people who need housing, so builders are thinking that's the market to build it, to start building apartment buildings. And even with the increase, rent is still going up. So you know, investors who are looking to buy investment properties, you know, still a good time, because there's always going to be a renter out there, and
Yeah.
they're going to make money. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Can I
that's
add one more thing to that.
please.
Something to tell your buyers that rent is going up. It's still a good time to buy a house. House prices are going down, rent's going up. So buy a
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, and in addition to it, these units that are being built right now are being built to condominium standards.
Exactly. Exactly. That's kind of the standard now for building apartments, is to plan ahead so that you have those options.
right.
And that's good for us. That turns it into not a single family home, but it turns it into home ownership from
Right.
apartments. Interesting thing is it can never go back the other way. It's a one-time thing. So in today's market, they're building apartment buildings, and as things change, probably I forget what the scenarios are, but what 20 years ago, they were converting to condos, from apartments to condos like crazy. So we'll see that again someday.
Yeah, and
sure.
some of them were having problems converting because they weren't built to the right standard.
Exactly. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, the South Waterfront, remember the towers were apartments, condos, apartments, condos. Back and forth.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. This has not changed. So let's just read Portland. Hey, Kung, how is the market in Portland? If you can see.
Well, yeah, nationwide home sales have fallen 6% over the past 6 months. However, Portland Metro is still a seller's market with low inventory, short market times, and increasing prices. Average days on the market is 49 days, and home prices have increased 3.8% over last year. The median home sold price in the metro area is $532,000, and interest rates are currently 7% and are expected to fluctuate upwards over time. There are still more people looking to buy than there are homes available, so it's a very good time to list.
Excellent, excellent. I'm coaching someone now who's doing circle prospecting from their home office. And they were telling me how they're setting up their office. So they've printed this out. They're in the Portland metro area. They've printed that out and taped it to the desk. They printed out some other notes. They have the script that they're going to be using to circle prospect. And then they have the interview questions in case they get a buyer or a seller on the phone. They can quickly grab that, pre-qualify for either one of those scenarios and go in that direction. So they've got their desk all set up and gives you confidence. You're ready for any scenario. Oh, they've also got a list of where they're circle prospecting. We got a list of everything for sale and all of the recent sales in there. Very professional. Gives you a lot of confidence when you're making doing that kind of work.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you know how they progress. Okay. I just want to show everybody that this is an excellent time to take the Accelerate class. And that's on 21 online, and I just had it up. Let's see if I'm still logged in for that. Yeah, it looks like they have one coming up November 14th through December 16th. That's 4 weeks, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, about an hour and a half sessions. You'll be in those sessions with probably up to 100 other realtors in the United States. And it covers the basics. There's 4 blocks to the program. And I have all the materials on our website, on our training website, that you can download. Or if you would like the printed book, just ask your manager and we'll mail it to you. So a good way to spend the summer developing your skills. Winter. All right. Shauna, you were inspired by podcasts. You're into podcasts now, and you saw some good ones.
Well, when at the retreat last week, I was a little bit surprised that they brought out a speaker on podcast, and her name was Kristen. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but her name was Kristen. And I met her at the event afterwards too. She hosts the Relentless podcast, Moving Fearlessly to Success podcast. And this podcast is paid for by Slate Studios and Century 21 Real Estate. And Kristen hosts this podcast and has a different guest speaker each time. And the guest can be anybody from a comedian to a poker player. She's brought all different types of people in, and it's always interesting. And I put a link there, so if you want to go in and listen to some of those, you can do that. Their podcast has over 1 million listeners in just 22 episodes. So I think she was worth listening to. Like I said, I was kind of surprised by that. Usually they have just motivational speakers and that kind of stuff, but they actually, not that she wasn't motivational, she was obviously, but podcasts are becoming more and more popular, and people get stuck waiting places and they want their mind entertained while they're doing that. And it's easy to listen to a podcast, especially when they're positive talk or you're learning something from them.
Boy, wouldn't
And-
you love to have 1 million listeners? Do you get a gold record for that podcast?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a long, I had a lot of notes, so it's quite a long blog. She gives you a lot of pointers on how to get those people. She's been doing it a very long time. She's worked for several big companies, and obviously Century 21 has a lot of followers. So, but a lot of people are thinking that podcasts are just a thing, but I think they're going to become more and more popular. I remember in the beginning of COVID, nobody wanted to Zoom, but here we are. It's one of our best tools that we have now. So I kind of think of it like that. Like, this is something that we'll probably need to do to get more clientele. Agents are great storytellers. She went into talking about how our jobs help people through some of the most difficult and confusing times. And the stories are great. We turn people's dreams into reality. And most real estate agents are engaging and have charisma because they're in sales. So people do want to listen to you. So she just was making the point that communication is already our area of expertise. Why not use a podcast to create more clientele? And you can create a podcast to help you get more clients. You can use it to build your brand, and you can do it in a short amount of time. I think for me, it would take me a lot of time, but she guarantees once you get the system down, that it wouldn't take much time. You could include all sorts of media into your podcasts, and you can begin to, she says, one of the most important things is to create your audience. Like, who are you going to be podcasting to? And if you say, well, who's your podcast for? And you say everyone, then your podcast is for no one. She says it has to be specific. If you say everyone, then you're gone. Don't even start there. You need to get specific. And she gave some good examples. I mean, Podcast Week can be for young professionals, recent college graduates. It could be for people who want to buy and flip homes. There's all sorts of ideas here for you to look at. I don't need to read them all. But for me, I think I would want to do like a first-time home buyer one or market one would be something that I would be really interested in. Maybe even investment type properties as well. It would be good to get those second-time buyers. That would be a good one to go for too. She says, get as specific as you can. If you can scroll some more, imagine the person who would listen to your podcast, from where they live to what their family makeup is, to a typical day in their life. Think about why they would listen to your podcast versus turn on the radio, watch TV, and or listen to another podcast. They might find Joe Rogan more entertaining than you. But you can always try. Yeah, they might. You never know. He's got one of the largest ones. What are you giving them that the others aren't? So you've really got to think about keeping in mind that the people listening to the podcasts are both male and female. So you want to try to be, to capture both of those audiences, unless you're specifically trying for women, single moms or something like that. But she says, trying to target and get as specific as you can. And also 80% of the podcast listeners are under 55, which means, the best way to get to the, older people probably isn't podcasts. So
that surprises me, because I would think, because it's almost like listening to a radio show or something like that. It would appeal to older people,
Yeah, I know. I thought the same thing because I'm I'm going to be 55 in just a few months, and I listen to podcasts. So maybe that demographic is changing, and she just doesn't realize it. She
Oh, well,
was,
you'll stop. When you hit 55, you'll stop. You'll turn them off.
yeah, and I'll start reading the newspaper again, right?
Yeah, read the newspaper.
Remember that your listeners are your customers. So in every episode of your show, give your listeners what they want, ask your clients what they want to hear and give it to them. Showcase stories about people who are your listeners that they can identify with. Let them see themselves in your show. Demonstrate what you've done for your customers and what you can do for the new customers. Make your stories relevant to what they can see themselves doing. And it says be a friend. She made a funny comment that if you listen to somebody every day, you feel like you know them. So people will approach her and start talking to her like they know her and she doesn't know them. So if that means she's done her job. She says, so showcase what makes you a good friend to them. Along the way, engage with your listeners. So give your audience lots of ways to get in touch with you, like on Twitter or Facebook, or the old-fashioned way, email. Ask your audience questions that they can answer and write back to you with. Make sure the answers have a story built in. Listeners love assignments. Do you remember your first house growing up? That kind of thing. Set up a Facebook community for your show brand if you haven't already. Have your friends comment in the beginning. Listeners will eventually start following your podcast. Have a podcast landing page at your website and make sure that every episode is there. There are still a large percentage of Americans who are intimidated by podcasting apps. They do tend to take over your telephone. I noticed when I downloaded one that every time I got in my car, it would start playing and it was annoying. So I uninstalled it. So I can see how a URL would be a benefit to that. And I did paste that at the top of this. I don't know how much time we have left. Provide a valuable service. Think about what your real life clients ask you most often. This is a good one. What can you realistically afford? How do I get a home loan? All these questions are good podcasts. You could use that in a podcast.
Yeah. So, Shauna, we have a couple minutes left on this. And so what happens in a podcast? Is it an interview type
It could be
scenario?
that. Yeah. And if you read the rest of this, you can do it different ways. You can interview people and have it talking back and forth, like you're asking questions and they're answering it so that you're providing information through that. Or you can just do your own podcast and read letters or questions that people have sent in. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. And you can change that every time. It doesn't have to be the same. And they made suggestions instead of trying to get for like these big ones, like Century 21, they can sometimes get, people that are well known, but you don't have to do that. You can have agents in your office, she suggests, or, it could be your mold guy, it could be your inspector, it could be your loan officer, it could be all different types of people. And how you could use, it doesn't cost you anything and they're promoting themselves. And that's another way to get your podcast out there, is to be on other people's podcasts and then have them and then share and promote each other. And that gets you more followers.
Nice. What do you think? You said you were going to do something like this.
I think so. And I was thinking of Nick a lot in this, because another one of them is, what if I want to be a real estate agent? I think that would be a great podcast. And obviously he would have a lot of people that he could have on as guests and different things. Or, that would be just one of the things that you could do in your, if you get enough people following you that are wondering about that in your podcast, you could just do that as well.
Okay.
Right.
Excellent. Well, we're looking
There's an
forward
app
to,
called Clubhouse.
what's it called?
Clubhouse that people may want to check out just because it's free and you can kind of, investigate, play with it. They give you tips and hints on how to get more people interested in your meeting rooms, and so on. They're a little more impromptu, but that's kind of the rage.
Mhm.
They're not video, are they? These are strictly audio?
Mhm.
That is audio. Yeah. Yeah. There are video ones, I believe. Yeah.
There are, and I think the Relentless one does a video with theirs.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen some and they look like, they just look like regular television interviews, like
Mhm.
Larry King
Mhm.
with a
I
fake.
would hope better than Larry King. He wasn't that great.
No, he wasn't. And he didn't have that fake brick wallpaper that so many people use today. I think if I did a podcast, I'd use that.
Yeah, I think I would probably want to team up with somebody or do something like that because it will be a lot of work, I think, in the beginning just to structure, because the structure of it is really you have to have it structured. It has to seem professional or no one's going to come back.
Yeah, but you know what? It costs nothing to play with it. It costs nothing to start developing your skills.
Yeah, she said, don't go out and buy all that expensive stuff. She bought her microphone that she's using right now, used for $100. She records in her closet because of the sound is so good in there. You don't have to go out and spend a lot of money to do these.
I hope it's a walk-in closet.
I didn't ask.
But that would be an interesting podcast, From the Closet.
It sounds familiar almost, doesn't it?
Real estate news from the closet.
Actually, it is. It sounds funny, but actually, I have a friend who's a professional, reads books on tape, and he goes into his closet because just the acoustics are just right.
Yes, he
Yep.
did.
That's what she said. It's perfect.
Clothes are the most inexpensive sound dampener.
Yeah, the clothes.
Uh-huh.
All
It
right.
is.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to hearing what you do. All right, Cheryl, you had wanted to talk about goal setting today, and it seems to be the perfect time of the year for such a topic.
Definitely is the perfect time of the year.
Right. And so you brought up two, is this the right order for these?
Sure.
All right. Well, tell us about it.
Okay. Well, we talk about this every year about this time.
Yes, we do.
It's a good time to start thinking about your goals, because if you don't plan right now for next year, I mean, let's face it, at this point, if you don't got some deals going on right now, you're probably not going to have much going on come January. So if you want to reach those goals for next year, you need to start planning right now. So the first thing you need to do is know where you're at. Look at hopefully you kept all those stats of what you did and what worked for you, and how many calls you made or whatever it is, how many emails you sent and what you got from that, so you know what worked, what didn't work, and maybe what you need to work on, all that. And then prepare like you're going on a road trip for a vacation. And where with a vacation, you'd plan where, why, what, how. Same thing for your goals. You need to decide what you want, why do you want it, when do you want it, what do you have to do to get there, and then plan out step by step so you know what you want to do, and then put your foot on the gas in December to get it all started. And one of the biggest things I think for goals is your why. Why do you want whatever it is you want? You want to make $300,000. Why do you want that? Just, to be rich, that's not really. Why do you want to be rich? Think long and hard about why you want something. It should be an emotional response. you know, what really means a lot to you and why do you want that money? Is it security? Is it something you want to do with your family? Something you want to
And
provide?
I think that sometimes that's a harder thing, and keep in mind, you can change your mind too.
Yeah. Yes, you can change your mind. And often you do change your mind. Somebody, you know, a 20-year-old's goals are definitely different than a 50-something-year-old's goals.
Mhm.
That's right.
So yeah, think long and hard about why you want something, because that's what's going to motivate you. The thing that gives you some kind of, you know, you feel something about it, you feel some emotion about it, not just, yep, I want to be rich, you know, I want to make this number. A number doesn't really produce emotion. You need to figure out why. And then once you figure out why, you need to figure out how. And when you know how, that creates confidence. So practice those scripts, answering questions, create your own scripts that are comfortable for you and that you believe in. So if you don't like a script that you found, you know, change it, make it your script. You know, use the tips and suggestions that you get, you know, asking questions. You can ask those same 5 or 6 questions that are in the Mike Ferry scripts 1,000 different ways. So whatever's good for you, make that your own. And the most important thing is that you just do it and that you believe in it. And then create a vision. These are tips from coaches. I believe, I don't remember now if they were Mike Ferry or Tom Ferry coaches, one of the big ones. And they say, create a vision, a bedtime story that you tell yourself, you know, as you go to sleep at night. You think about what you want your life to be and leave the I can't or I don't want to behind. They talked about the 3 cancers of the mind: complaining, comparing, and criticizing. Stop those. Just stop them.
Oh, those are great.
Yeah.
Great. In your
Stop-
mind,
Yeah.
Well,
what's going on here?
it's a great message because we spend so much time on those.
Oh,
Yes, we do.
It's just toxic.
And complaining is contagious. You know, when someone comes in the office complaining about something, next thing you know, like everybody's complaining about something.
Everybody wants to chip in with their own complaint.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Stop. Be the positive influence, not only in your life, but in others.
You might as well. All right.
Yes.
Those never happen in our office, Cheryl. Come on now.
Not our office, in other
Not in-
people's offices.
Always other people.
All
All
right.
other people. We are positive. Think bigger.
Yeah.
So bigger is one of those acronyms that they suggested. Brilliant. What are you doing well? So take stock of what you're doing well. You know, the I is improve. What can I improve on? And the 2 G's are get going. And then what am I not doing at all? There's always something, you know, you're probably not doing a podcast. Maybe you need to think about doing a podcast. Maybe you want to start with a little video if you haven't done a video. So whatever it is, you know, get it going, start doing something. Eliminate risk. What are others doing that could take business away that I'm not? When you see another realtor or any business really doing something that's a good idea, you know, think about that. How can you adjust it for yourself? Or maybe you have another idea for yourself.
Yeah. If it works, copy it.
That's right.
Yeah. Always think of, and I write this down. I keep little books to write notes in, and I always write on it the next big thing
Mhm.
to remind me that you got to use your imagination and see what's coming next.
Yeah, and things are changing. Like the podcast thing is a huge idea. A lot of people are actually making money just doing podcasts right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, just getting that for new clientele. I know somebody who actually uses it in real estate and does pretty good at it.
Yeah. Quit trying and just do it.
That's it.
They use an example of someone trying to open a door. Well, what's trying to open a door? You just do it, you know?
Yeah, I'm trying, that's not gonna cut it.
That's like when someone leaves our office and they say, I'm gonna go show a house, and everyone always says, don't show it, sell it.
Right.
Start the day and end the day positive with that bedtime story, and then start in the morning with something positive, whether it's meditation, affirmation, exercise, whatever it is for you to get your mindset right. And then end the day looking at your wins and losses. If you had some losses, look at those as learning experiences, learn from it and move on. Have a morning routine. We talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
After you get your mindset right, call 5 people you know. That's easy. Everyone can call 5 people they know, and then call 5 people you don't know. Do 4 follow-up calls from emails or whatever, and then 2 social media posts. This is from one of those coaches. If you do those 4 things, they said you'll have all the business you need. You do those 4 things every day. The things you own, there's only a few things you can control: your thoughts, your energy, and your time. Control those things. If you fall down, get back up and ask for help. So don't worry about the things you can't control, like the market and what's happening, just your things. And then the last one is document your journey. Keep track of where your leads come from. That was kind of number 1. You're looking back at this last year, and then make sure you keep those stats for next year. Write a Sunday plan for the following week, and then do that KISS analysis I've talked about before. What do you want to keep doing? What do you want to increase, start doing, and stop doing? And then lastly, I know we're running out of time. Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world. I don't know who Joel Barker is, but that's a really good quote.
A wise man. A very wise man.
Yes, very
Great
wise.
stuff. Great stuff. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Really great meeting today. Looking forward to people thinking about their goals. Third quarter is always the time to do that. Work through the holidays, just like it's a normal time.
Yeah,
Think about a
and-
podcast.
What?
What's that?
Well, I don't know, I was just laughing at Cheryl. I don't know
Yeah.
what she just did. But no, yeah, right. Actually, make sure you keep in contact and get your databases all, updated. Right now is a good time.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. I'll let you get back to work. Have a great week.
Hey, John, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.